Ko te wakahuia he kai kawe kōrero, he kai hāpai mā tauranga, he kaitiaki taonga. Mau ana ko te tapu o ngā taonga tuku iho, ko tā te wakahuia he hono i te hā o tua whakarere ki ngā pātaka mā tauranga o Te Awa. E putai he kōrero ki te whai ao, ki te ao mārama. A tēnā, kia whai tātou i te māramatanga i roto i ēnei taonga.
Tēnā koutou tamariki mā, nau mai ki tēnei hōtaka o Raranga Matihiko. Ko Sam Hinari tōku ingoa, ko Jesse Robertson tēnei, and we both work at Te Papatonga Rewa here in Te Whanganui a Tara.
And together with our friends at Waitangi Treaty Grounds Te Petu Whenua, Waikato Museum Te Faritong or Waikato and MTG Hawke's Bay Tai Ahuriri, we've got some awesome activities for you to do at your kāinga all around kaitiaki-tanga. So Sam, what does it mean to be a kaitiaki?
Well, to be a kaitiaki means that we have a responsibility to look after and to care for things which are precious. So our job as kaitiaki who work in a museum is to look after the taonga which are kept here. However, another part of our job as kaitiaki who work in the museum is to help to support you to look after your taonga. But Jessie, what are taonga?
Well, taonga are things that are special, precious and important to us. Things like our words and our stories, special places, unique environments, even the people around us. They're all things that we love and we care for and we want to look out for. So, I'm excited. What are we doing?
Well, in this series, we're going to be using digital tools to help explore the relationship which we have with taonga in the present and in the future. Nō reira, he aha te take mō te rānei.
Well, today's kaupapa is the Awa, and where better to explore an Awa than in Waikato at Waikato Museum. After that, we're going to head back to the Learning Lab where we hear Alicia is having a go at making some stories using stop motion animation. Sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Awesome. Kia ora, Elaine.
Thanks, Jessie and Sam. Nau mai, haere mai. Welcome to Te Faritong o Waikato, the Waikato Museum. Ko Elaine tōku ingoa, my name's Elaine. The Waikato Museum stands in the centre of Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, right on the banks of the mighty Waikato River, Te Awa o Waikato. This river starts on the slope of Mount Ruapehu and travels 425 kilometres out to the mouth at Port Waikato, which makes this the longest awa in New Zealand. Along its length there are 8 hydroelectric dams, which provide more power than any other region in New Zealand, which makes this awa a real treasure, a taonga, not only to the people of the Waikato, but also to the people in the whole of New Zealand. In fact, all water systems could be considered a treasure, for without water there would be no life. And it's our role to help care for and protect our waterways. When the Tainui arrived in this region 800 years ago, the landscape would have looked quite different. Very heavy bush, forest and swamp, and transport would have been really difficult. So the awa became the main transport link. It was used for trade and for communication. More than that, it was also a really important food source. A number of native fish live in our river. Giant kokapu, pātiki flounder, whitebait, and tuna, the eel. Not to mention the number of edible plants that grow on, in and around the river, which is why so many parasite settlements developed along the river's edge. This led to a very famous saying we have here in the Waikato. Waikato taniwha hei piko hei taniwha, hei piko hei taniwha. Waikato of 100 chiefs, at every bend a chief, at every bend a chief. This saying refers to the power and prestige of the Waikato tribes. Now, more than that, this awa is a living thing. It is considered an ancestor, a tupuna. It has a life force, a Māori, all its own. The waters are sacred and they are used in a number of special rituals. Now, we have a creation myth about the Waikato awa. And it's the story of 2 mountains, Tongariro and Taupiri, and they were brother and sister and they lived at Taupo. Now, Taupiri, she fell in love with a very handsome mountain called Porongia, and she decided to get married. And she wanted to move away from her brother, so she moved out to Ngarawahia. When she got out to Ngarawahia, she fell deathly ill. Porongia was really worried, and he went off to find help. But Taupiri knew exactly what she needed. She needed the healing waters of her home. So she called to her brother, Tongariro. She said, "Send me your healing waters." He disguised his slave as a dog, and as the dog ran, it carved the path for the waters to flow. And as the waters flowed past Taupiri, she drank from them, and she was magically healed. Times are changing. We have more people living in New Zealand now than ever before. More people need more housing, more food, so we need more farms, market gardens, factories. We need greater water and wastewater plants, and that is putting a lot more pressure on our awa, and a number of awa are becoming sick. Water quality is decreasing, and it's changing the habitats and ecosystems of the creatures that live in, on and around the water. We all need to do what we can to help as kaitiaki of the waterways. Councils are monitoring water quality in the awa. They are checking the number of native species in the awa. Farmers are learning about riparian planting, which is the planting of native species that to grow along waterways crossing farmland to stop chemicals leaching into waterways. We're all doing what we can in water conservation when there is less rainfall. But even doing something as simple as picking up a piece of rubbish out of the street to stop it getting into the wastewater system is going to help protect our awa. Today you're going to be able to tell some stories about the awa in different ways. You can do a three-dimensional diorama of an awa and the life that lives in it, but you'll also learn how to tell the story of an awa using cloud stop motion, and our friends down at Te Papa are going to be able to help you. So I'll hand it back to Sam and Jessie. Ka kite anō.
Thanks, Elaine. It's cool to think that the Waikato River was a life source not only for tangata whenua then as their kai and their transport, but also now producing hydroelectricity and giving the rest of the country power.
Yeah, that's right. And Elaine talked about how it was a life source as well in her story, a life source flowing from Tongariro to Taupiri. Another part which I found really interesting about Elaine's kōrero was when she used the whakatauki, Waikato taniwha rau, he piko he taniwha, he piko he taniwha, which talked about how there is a taniwha around every bend of the Awa Waikato.
But aren't taniwha usually dangerous?
Well, yeah, they can be, but they're also spiritual guardians or spiritual kaitiaki of the awa. And they're there to represent the rangatira or the chiefs, who are kaitiaki of the awa as well, but also kaitiaki of the people who live alongside the awa.
That's cool. So it's like if the awa is well, the people are well.
Ai, tika.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to head to the lab now because I hear Alicia's having a go at making some stories using stop motion animation. I'll see you soon.
Ka pai.
Kia ora, Jessie.
Hey Alicia, this looks interesting. What are you doing?
Well, I was inspired by Elaine's kōrero about the Waikato awa to look at ways that we could create an awa scene.
Cool.
So right now I have put down some blue felt to represent our awa.
Nice.
I have a bunch of other things that kind of look a little bit familiar around our awa to decorate with.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So I'm going to start with the maunga because it's really important to have somewhere for our water to flow into our awa.
Nice.
Cool. Now further downstream I'm going to have a whare, which represents our pa. Cool. Awesome. The next thing I'm going to add is some harakeke.
Nice. Because it's really important to have plants and greenery around the awa.
For the health of our river and our riverbanks, it's really important to have that there.
Nice.
I'm also going to add some bushes. Cool. And lucky last, we're going to add in some river life. So I've got some ika here. So I'm going to put a little bit of rubbish in my scene just to kind of add to my scene.
I almost feel bad putting it in there.
I know, it's not really demonstrating being a good kaitiaki, is it?
No. I suppose there's method to your madness though.
Absolutely. So what we're going to be using today is stop motion animation.
What does that mean?
So stop motion animation is a way that we can create little animations, little videos, little movies by using heaps of photos and stringing them all together. Now what I've done here is set up my scene and we're going to use stop motion animation to tell a story about an awa.
Nice.
Cool. I'm going to get it set up on my computer and then we'll carry on with creating in front of us.
Perfect. So how do we do it?
So the first thing that I want to do is I want to search for Cloud Stop Motion. That is the program that we're going to be using today.
Nice.
Cool, and it's just the first one here that I click on.
And it just works in a browser? You don't download it or anything?
Yeah, so it just works in a browser. It's a website. It's free to use. You can choose if you want to log in. If you log in, you get more storage, so you can make more movies, but you don't have to log in to actually use the program.
Nice.
Now I'm going to log in here, press this button. Awesome, and so now I've logged in.
Perfect.
The first thing I'm going to do is click on New Project, and we can start our stop motion.
Nice.
Now you will notice that whatever is in front of the camera and what I can see is reflected here. Cool. So I'm just going to adjust this so that it's easier for us to create.
And you're using the back camera of your...
Yes, absolutely. So I'm currently using the back camera, but I do also have the front camera option. Now for you guys at home, you might also have that option. And if you need to change which camera you're using, you just click on the camera button here, click the drop down menu beside the camera, and you can choose it right there.
Perfect.
So I'm just going to line up my Awa to work with the frame that I've got, or my view from my camera. Cool. And I'm pretty happy with that. I might just move over the pa a little bit. Cool. Awesome. So I can see my rubbish, I can see my fish. I'm actually going to take my fish out of the scene to begin with because they are going to be what we animate moving down the stream.
Nice.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking lots of photos. So can you move your fish just a little bit for me?
I think we're going to have them... So let's have them starting...
Awesome. So I'm going to take that photo now. Cool. And another one.
Move them again.
Cool. And another one. Now there's something that I'm noticing. If I go back and have a look at these images, I can see something.
Oh, my hands are in them.
Your hands are in it. Now, what we're trying to do when we create a stop motion animation video is we're trying to have the illusion that the fish are moving by themselves, not with your help. We know that we're moving them, but we want to create that kind of feel that they're moving by themselves.
Right.
So we don't want any hands in there.
Okay.
If you put your hand in front of it for a second for me. Okay, so I can actually see that Jessie's hand is in front of it now, so I can keep an eye on that. Now, her hand is not completely like it's there. It looks a little bit like a ghost, okay? And that's what we call ghosting. Now, ghosting is really helpful if you accidentally knock the table, or you knock over, maybe you're doing it with Lego, you knock over the Lego, and you can find where it was to begin with. It also shows you, if you're going to move something, it shows you where it was, so you can make sure that you're only moving it in little bits every time. Cool? Awesome. All right.
So I guess that's really good for continuity.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, so you ready to put your fish down?
Yes.
Cool. We want to start with them coming onto screen a little bit.
Okay. So I'm going to have them kind of peeping out of this bushy bush here.
Perfect. Awesome.
There we go.
So Jessie's going to say clear.
Clear.
And I'm going to take the photo and then say I, so that she knows that I'm ready.
Cool. And moving again. Clear.
Wait, I haven't said I yet. I. Awesome work, Jessie. It's looking great.
It's sad that they have to reeve through the rubbish, because whoever left that there is not being a good kaitiaki.
No, exactly. And it's a really good way to tell a story and send a message to lots of people.
Nice.
I.
And then they're coming away.
Perfect, because we've finished. Awesome. So now we have created a little movie or a little animation. I'm going to get us to jump back to the start, and I'm going to have a look at the movie now. Are you ready?
Yes, let's watch it.
Let's have a look at your masterpiece.
That looks so good.
Happy?
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's a really easy way that we can tell a story using a digital tool.
Nice.
Awesome. Now we're going to give stop motion animation another go, but this time we're going to use different materials because you can basically use anything that you have at home to help you create a stop motion animation.
Oh, you could. But I suppose as well, the material that you use would depend on the story that you wanted to tell.
Absolutely. I thought we might have a go at drawing.
Cool.
It sounds really basic, but it's actually a little bit challenging because you have to, again, make sure that you're only doing really small movements. Have you got any idea of a story we might be able to tell about kaitiaki-tanga?
I think we kind of draw on the idea that we had here with the rubbish, and maybe we could have someone coming in, throwing some rubbish into the awa, and then the fish eating it and getting sick.
Okay, cool. So maybe showing how not to be a kaitiaki of our awa? Cool. Now what I do when I'm drawing is I often will draw the frame so that I know where I'm working, because it's really important to know our workspace. So I'm going to start about here, draw across, and this is going to be the frame that I'm working with, that I'm happy with.
Nice.
Cool.
And that means that all our drawings are going to stay in frame, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing we need, an awa.
Yep, sounds good to me. Now
Okay.
it's really important when you're working with a partner on this kind of project that you do have a kōrero about what you want to do. Make sure you're happy with it before you start.
Cool.
Okay.
Should I
so
go
I'll
for
let
it?
you. Yep, I'll let you draw your awa, and then I'll take a photo of that.
So I'm going to go draw
Cool.
like this.
Now the blue also helps show what we're talking about. Okay, we know it's to do with water.
And then I'm, of course, going to put some plants near it.
Because we know how important plants are for our river health. Awesome, looking good, Jessie. Good job.
There we go.
Cool. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to take that first photo, and it's done.
Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is have the person walking in.
Okay.
And so I'm going to start with a little leg
Awesome.
and an arm, which is going to have a piece of rubbish in it.
Cool.
And then half a head.
Awesome. So I've taken that photo, so we now need to use an eraser to help us take away the parts that we don't need. And you can see on the screen that it's actually kept it, even though Jessie has rubbed it away, it's kept it so that we know where it's come from. So that ghosting is really helpful in this situation. Cool. Ready?
Yep.
Awesome, I've taken that photo.
So this could be quite time consuming.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess we're lucky that we have a whiteboard, but you could use whatever you had at home, really. Next one.
Awesome. Fantastic.
And then I'll do one more of him standing in, so he's kind of standing in the middle.
Awesome, yeah. Because I guess the main thing about this story is actually the impact that it's having on the fish
Yes.
and the wildlife, rather than the story about the man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, now I'm going to keep the man there, but I'm going to have the rubbish fall from his hand. I'm going to make it go like this, and I'm going to make some little lines so it looks like he's throwing it.
Cool. Awesome. So it shows the viewer what's going on. Great.
Done?
Done? Yep.
I suppose as well, I could be
Awesome.
moving these blue lines too, so it looked like the awa was flowing.
Yep, and you could even potentially move the green as well to show that it's moving in
Wow.
the wind. Yeah.
There's so much detail that you can put into it. Cool.
Cool.
Now my fish is going to start swimming. Next.
Yep.
I draw this fish first so that the other one can dry a little bit.
Good idea.
Now I'm going to have him open his big mouth, like he's going to chomp down on this.
Great. That looks awesome. Cool. Yep.
And then I'm going to rub out the food and the fish.
And so they're kind of going to merge together, are they?
Yes. And his mouth is going to be closed. So I'm going to do a bigger fish, like that, and maybe a few bubbles coming up.
Cool.
So it looks like he just ate.
Awesome. Wicked. That looks great.
And then I'm going to have him, how am I going to make him look sick?
Maybe we could change some of his facial expressions. So he could either look quite upset or he could look quite sick.
Okay, so I'm going to maybe put his eye, because I know there's that whole cartoon idea of an X eye makes you sick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe I'm going to use that idea of doing a fish. And do you think that you could take, so this is him kind of going, uh-oh. Could you take 2 photos of that?
Yep. 1,
Actually,
2.
make it 3.
3. Done.
Because by taking 3 photos, that means it's going to be still for a while and people will see that.
Kind of like a freeze frame in a normal movie.
Yes.
Cool.
And then he's going to have his little X eye. So take 3 of those.
1, 2, 3.
And then he's going to swim away with his X eye.
Great.
So I'll make him swim the other way. I hope this guy up here who threw it in is seeing all this.
I hope so too.
That's for sure.
He looks a little bit shocked.
Yeah. And his X eye.
Cool. Done.
And then we'll do the last shot of him with his tail. Just his tail in the shot.
So we know that he's swum off.
Yes.
Awesome.
And then one
Great.
with nothing.
Cool.
Perfect.
And done.
Nice. Should we finish it off with a motto?
Yeah, maybe we should write something just to
Yeah.
kind of share the message.
Cool. What should we write?
Maybe,
Be a good kaitiaki?
yeah. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, let's put that. So I'm going to go be
Awesome. Cool.
I'm going to do good and green.
Yeah, add some more effect. So this could also work if you wanted to create different scenes and create titles in between. Have an opening title, having some credits at the end.
Speech,
Yeah,
like in the old
exactly.
movies.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm going to take a photo of that. Hang on 2 seconds. Yep.
And then
You're right.
it's hard to do it straight.
Awesome work, Jessie. It's looking really good. Cool. And fantastic.
Awesome.
Shall we play it back and have a look at it?
Yes.
Now, it is quite long, so I might just stick to the 12 frames per second and see
Okay.
how we get on. Cool. I'm going to go back to the start. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
That looks
Awesome!
cool.
What a great way to share your message about being a kaitiaki.
I think it's a great way to share a lot of different messages.
And in terms of fun, the options are endless. So if we look down the side here, we can actually also add in some audio. So you might have recorded a script that you were talking about or a conversation between 2 people, and you can add that in.
Even some music.
Absolutely. And just like we were talking about before with titles, you can also add in different types of titles.
Wow.
So if you didn't want to write them and have them look as if they were done professionally,
They look good though.
they look beautiful,
Okay.
you could add in some titles that way.
Awesome.
Cool. Now we showed you guys before how to save it and how to do all that, so we're not going to go into that for now. I think it's time for Jessie to head back.
Yeah, I want to go and tell Sam all about this. Thank you so much. It's been heaps of
That's
fun.
okay, my pleasure. Ka kite.
See you later. Hey Sam, did you like my stop motion animation? I loved how we used different mediums to tell different stories and that each medium conveyed a different meaning.
Yeah, what a great way to be able to create and share messages about how we can be kaitiaki for the awa.
I'm excited to have a go at home and we're excited to see some of the messages that you create about being a kaitiaki for your awa. Once you've created it, share it with your whānau and upload it to social media using the hashtag below.
So that's us for now. Ka kite anō.
We'll see you again.